Good morning. It's good to see that our tech issues have worked out. I want to give a thanks to the East Bay Media Center. They're great. They've solved all our issues. So now we can have a chat this morning. I have a small confession to make. I've never had any heroes. This was hard for me growing up whenever the teacher at school would say, now we're going to do a writing project on who, if you could pick anyone, living or dead, to have dinner with, who would you pick? And I would think, nobody. What do I write on? I'd like to pick a good friend. Can I just do that? Someone I already know? I'm introverted. Meeting someone for the first time, even if they're famous and they sit down with me for dinner, I'm not going to know what to say. I'm not going to want to make small talk. I'd much prefer to talk to a friend. I just haven't had heroes. No sports figures. No politician. Goodness, no politician. Just no one I've had as a hero. This was hard too, picking a name for my child. When you're trying to pick, okay, what are we going to name our child? Well, what are heroes or people you admire you can name our kid after? And I think, I don't have any. Or picking someone from the Bible. It's like, well, find a good biblical name. But then you realize, these biblical figures, they have some serious flaws. It's like, how about that guy? He did all these cool things for God. But did you read verses this through this? Goodness, no. So many of them had huge crashes and burns. And then, when we see that in society today, we have these people who do have heroes and look up to these heroes. Once we find out that he or she has a flaw, want to tear them off their pedestal, kick them to the curb, and never think of them again. People are flawed, even the good ones. I turn to talking about a Bible story where everyone in the story has a lot of flaws. One of the most difficult, most ugly, and challenging stories of the Bible. Genesis 34, the story of Dinah. And before I start this, I'll give a trigger warning. This story revolves around a sexual assault. In my previous line of work, I have worked with people who've experienced this, and I want to just let people know up front that this story deals with that topic, and so if this topic and talking about it could produce negative feelings or flashbacks or difficulties for whoever may be listening, feel free to know what it's about and perhaps look at a different talk or tune in next week if you feel this would be a difficult subject to view. And it is a challenging one, Genesis 34. It all starts with the family of Jacob. They've moved into a new area, and Jacob's daughter Dinah, historians say she was probably early teens, decides, that local city looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to sneak out and go check out the world. The writing implies that she was doing something she probably shouldn't have been doing, sneaking out of the house to go check things out. Josephus, the ancient Jewish historian, mentions that it was likely that the local town was having a festival. Thinking about this, what girl in her early teens, being kind of sheltered in her family's household camp, wouldn't be interested in a local festival? So she sneaks out. And while she sneaks out, the prince of the local town looks at her, desires her, and then it says he sexually assaults Dinah. One thing in this story, Dinah is never blamed. Later on, there's a lot of blame to go around for a lot of people, but it never lands on Dinah. Being naive and sneaking out is not an offense worthy of assault. and the story never says she's to blame. This is why I take a point out, even drawing a lesson from the Bible. If you've experienced something like this, no matter what, you are not to blame. The perpetrator is. No matter what decisions a person's made beforehand, where they were going, if the person was physically compromised, say drunk, or if this person has said yes at first and then said no later, this is never an excuse for an assault. A person should be able to go, change their mind, and be safe. Wear what they want, go where they want, and change their mind, and be safe and free from the risk of any type of sexual assault. A person should be free to change their mind at any time. Yes, 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 no, okay. No is no. And if a person is physically compromised, they should not have to worry about their physical safety. There is no blame on a person who has experienced this. And the Bible gives no blame to Dinah. She was the victim. Now look at these other characters. So Dinah experienced something horrible by a man named Shechem. He was the prince of the local town. It also says he was the favorite son of the king. So, privileged guy assaults this young woman, and then he imprisons her in his house. So he does what he does, and then keeps her prisoner in his house. And then something of his conscience must be working. His conscience starts eating at him, and he thinks, I really do like this girl. And so he goes to Dad and says, Dad, can I maybe how can we try to make things right? I'll marry her is what I'll do. And so he asks Dad to go talk to Dinah's dad and try to make things right, and maybe they can get married. If I was Dinah, I'd be thinking, I'm in prison here? Say what? But Shechem's trying to do something here. So he goes to his rich dad, the king, and then the king, Hamor, goes to where Jacob and his family are living. Dad doesn't seem to be around, so Hamor talks to Dinah's brothers and says, okay, we had this happen. Shechem wants to try to make things right. And in the ancient mindset, offering money or something would be a way that they would try to make things right in the ancient mindset. Nowadays, you think, that's not going to make it right. But he's trying in the ancient way of thinking, and the king says, I will give you whatever you want to make this right. Money, land, whatever. I'll give you anything you want to make this right. And the brothers start thinking, Well, the brothers are outraged, first and foremost. They are outraged, he says. And they think, no matter what this guy's offering, that is not right. We demand justice. But they don't say that outright. They're trying to plan, how can they get justice? So they tell Hamor, all right, let's deal. And in their mind they're thinking, we're not going to accept any deal. Jacob's sons are seriously upset. They want to avenge Dinah, and they want justice. This is a good thing. Desiring justice for something that was really bad. And so they began to plot against the king and his son. And Jacob's sons say, we'll have peace between our people. You can make it right if every single man in your city gets circumcised. Circumcision was the sign with God that one was part of the Jewish people. And he said that if you all are willing to get circumcised, then it'll be okay. First of all, and this is an improper way to use God's law, really someone had to come to you and want to be part of God's people. The idea of circumcision was not a way to make a deal. But Jacob's sons say, if you get circumcised, we'll consider things okay. little sideline, where was Dad? We're looking at all the different characters. Very flawed characters. Jacob. Dad wasn't around. And Jacob, the dad, he didn't stand up for his daughter Dinah. A little background on Jacob. Jacob had 2 wives. Leah was his first wife, and Dinah was a child from his first wife, Leah. And Jacob really didn't love Leah. He loved his second wife, Rachel. And so I wonder, did he not stand up for Dinah because of some lingering issues with his first wife? So why did he leave the sons to deal with Hamor? He didn't step up to the plate. And later on in the story, Jacob was mostly concerned with how does this whole thing affect me? How does this affect my ability to relate to other people in the land? He wasn't there for his daughter. I see too many of today's news stories in this story. Situation of assault, a rich dad trying to get his son off the hook, a dad whose daughter was a victim who's not there. It's messed up. Back to Jacob's brothers and this deal with the king. So the king Hamor and the prince Shechem, they decide, okay, we'll do this, it'll make it right. And so they have everyone in town get circumcised. So all the men go to the chopping block, get things taken care of, and then they were all really sore as the story goes on. So this is getting more and more messed up here. And then in the middle of post-operative recovery, when all the men are sore and not able to move around very well, Simeon and Levi, 2 of the brothers, grab their swords, go into the town, and say, now we are going to have justice. They kill the king. They kill the prince who committed the crime. And then they kill every other man in town. They put every single man in town to death. Okay, all of a sudden a really good desire for justice has turned into overkill. On one side note, you could take this as a biblical pronouncement against rape culture. If there was a town where the culture was such that it was okay if their people in power committed this kind of crime, well, the whole town gets put to death. There's no excusing this. The complete condemnation of an entire city where the culture allowed such a thing as assault to be acceptable. But then Simeon and Levi get their other brothers, and they all go into the town, take all the valuables. Now the men are dead, they take all the valuables, and the wives and kids of the men who they just killed, they take away the slaves. Wow, that's messed up. A desire for justice, which is good, has all of a sudden become mass murder and the taking of slaves. Ouch. All of a sudden you don't feel as good for Simeon, Levi, and Jacob's other sons. They just revealed a gigantic flaw. Their sons made a deceitful use of circumcision. They committed murder and theft and took slaves. But they also stood up for their sister when their dad wouldn't. And they demanded justice. And then Shechem and Hamor, the prince was guilty of rape and imprisoning this woman. The dad was also motivated by greed. He thought, well, if we make peace with Jacob and his tribe, well, maybe we can start to own their stuff. kind of have an economic and cultural takeover and absorb them into our community. But in their ancient mindset, they were also trying to make things right. They were willing to pay anything to make it right. But probably when they said anything, they didn't mean their lives. So what have we got here? A messed up story with messed up people. Some people have good motives, like the sons wanting justice, but they still did wrong. Blame to go around to everyone, except Dinah. Dinah's in the clear on this one. But everyone else is condemned. It's a mess, like life is sometimes. People can be messed up, situations can be messed up. Even we have made mistakes and could have done messed up things. The whole family of Jacob has a history of knowing what God wants, trying to carry it out on their own terms, and screwing it up really badly. So what can we get from this story? Looking at one of the most challenging and hard stories of the Bible. I already mentioned you can get some lessons that the victim is not to blame in situations of assault for any reason. You can see a condemnation of rape culture. And through all these messed up people, if you read on in the story, God still founds a nation. All these brothers that did way overkill in their search for justice, well, they become the founders of the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes. And these 12 tribes are the chosen people, the line from which Jesus comes. God's purposes are accomplished, still, even with people who mess up really badly. I see that God's purposes can still be accomplished through messed up people and messed up circumstances. And as I've worked with clients who've had long criminal records, some minor things, some major, yeah, there was a lot of screwing up. But God can still do something. If God could take this entire ugly story and still bring out God's purposes in the world, God sure can do the same thing with us. Whatever messed up story we might find ourselves in. Dear Lord, the Bible doesn't shy away from difficult things. And when the Israelites are writing about their founding leaders, they don't gloss over the ugly stuff. And we can learn from this. And God, I pray that whatever messed up, difficult, challenging circumstance we may have had in the past or may find ourselves in now, that you will make yourself known, that you will work through it, and that you can bring something good out of it. These ugly things, they're not your will. But you can still do good things. No one is a hopeless cause. And for anyone who may have experienced difficult situations like is described in this story, I pray that you will work in their heart, free them from any type of blame, and do good work in their life too. Lord, with all of us. We pray this in Christ's name.